Carly Starbirlow-Niles, the co-programmer and the artistic director of the Oceanside Intl Film Festival, and it's my honor to have the Q&A for such a lovely block. I think Lovebirds is in the house. There we go. Awesome. Hello, Elliot. How are you? Yep. Sit on there. Yes. Is it just you? Yeah. It's just you. I don't think they're...
I was hoping that folks from the other films would be here because they were so beautiful.
What a lovely block, huh?
That's awesome.
A lot of amazing... So why don't we introduce ourselves?
Sure. My name is Elliot Kennerson, and I'm one of the co-directors of Lovebirds.
And I'm Molly Warner, and
You probably recognize her.
you've just seen me in the film.
You just saw her a minute ago.
What an honor to have you up here. It seems to me we've got a few nominations, don't we, Elliot? Is that how that's working, sir?
Oh yes.
Yes,
so you
right?
tell me.
I mean, we're
yes.
Best Original Score, Best Editing for Short, Best Short Documentary, and up for Best Picture here for tonight at the award show.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Rumor has it you're even Oscar qualifying?
Yes. Not well. Yes, the film is qualified for submission to the Oscars, and you do that by winning a prize. It's kind of a long story, but not for the Oscars that are coming up in March, but for the Oscars a year from now. You might see us up there. We made the long list, so that's over 100 really, really good films by the time the year is over. But yeah, it is Oscar qualified and Oscar qualified. So if you know anyone in the Academy, please tell them to watch it. That's no joke.
Well, it's just such a lovely story. I mean, what a perfect circle. It's so rare to capture that in a documentary. So how did you two meet? How did this connection start?
Well, I'll start the answer to that question. So myself and Angel Morris, who's the co-director and producer of this film, work together in a production company here in San Diego. I'm a San Diego born and bred, and Angel had at that point lived here for a while. So we work together. Angel is a non-binary trans person. I'm a gay man. In the work, and we do principally natural history in our careers. And there's just not that many of us in that business, that part of the film industry. So we gravitated to each other. We knew we wanted to work on something together. And it was actually Angel who came to me and said, do you know about the lesbian seagulls? And I was like, I do actually, because in the 1990s, some of you might remember there was this Beavis and Butthead movie where they kind of made fun of it. And you see that in the very beginning of our film. It goes by kind of quick. So we decided to, we actually found a grant that we could apply for, which is critical. The story of the making of our film, unlike most independent films, is not one of fundraising. We were lucky enough to get a single grant that funded our entire film. We said, I wonder if those two scientists are still around. And maybe you can pick it up from there.
Well, actually, you contacted George Hunt, my ex, and he said, well, this is interesting, but you don't want to talk just to me, you want to talk to Molly because she was in on it too. So I'm
just happy you got seen, Molly. I'm so happy you got credit
yes,
for all
right.
that hard work that you did during the film.
You know, my name is on all those papers, but I wasn't in a position to be a professor because I didn't have the official credentials. So I did a lot of that work, and it was very interesting work. Anyway, Angel and Elliot got in touch with us, and we met over Zoom. And we had a couple of long talks, and we decided, let's do it.
Yeah, it was such a clear story you had there, Elliot. I mean, it seems like there was multiple boxes of slides, and you mastered that beautifully. I mean, did you have that concept in your mind, how you were going to shoot the slides and truly transform it into a film?
No, not starting out. We had multiple amazing strokes of luck in terms of the storytelling making this film. One of them was that we learned from George and Molly that George especially was a very enthusiastic photographer, and there were boxes and boxes of slides from this whole period. And that's not something we knew going into it. So that was one amazing stroke of luck. And so we looked through these really, I think there are thousands, like not 10,000.
There's a lot of them.
At least 2,000 or 3,000.
There's bunches and bunches of them.
Yeah, and many of them are research slides, of course, and they're in many of them. Some of those appear in the film, and then there were just the slides of their lives together, including whole trips to Africa that didn't make it into the film. So yeah, I would say, as you pointed out, we really lucked out with that. And then, we really knew that we wanted to capture the period, so we wanted to use the tech from the period in a real physical way, and so we found a slide projector, and we found that tabletop slide thing, which was a real kind of physical item, as a way to introduce them instead of just having them be flat on screen. We wanted to do something maybe more interesting than the typical thing with those documents.
Because the score was so, it handed us our emotions, basically. Boy, did it help with the movement, and it really defined the sections of the story. Were you involved in the score? How does that work with your soundtracks and your scores?
You say that we're nominated for these awards. If we win one, I hope it's that one, because I've worked with Seth Samuel, the composer, for years on various projects. And Seth is, composers work in many different ways. Seth is the kind of person oh gosh, how do I describe him? Well, my role in it is to be here's how I want to feel at this point. Because I don't know that much musically or anything. So I can't tell him, oh, I want this instrument, or I want this or that rhythm or whatever. So yeah, it's a very down-to-earth conversation, where I say, I want to feel this way and this point and this way and this point. And then as you do, you'll send that to the composer, and then they'll send you back something, and then you'll say, a little more of this here, a little more of that there. But Seth is quite a genius at kind of interpreting what Mr. Know Nothing About Music wants from the score. So
Yeah, it was beautiful.
he's wonderful.
And Molly, when you started off and you got that boat out there to Santa Barbara and your journey began, you seem to have an extraordinary life. How wonderful for you, really. And
Well, I had worked on a gull island with George the previous summer, so I knew the things that we were supposed to be doing, putting out stakes and seeing where the birds were, looking out at the blinds, from the blinds, and watching behaviors. So getting it set up was not a big deal. It was a lot of work, because everything you do on that island has to be carried up. There's no water on the island. We had to carry up big gallons of water up that path. Had to wash our clothes in salt water, with throwing a bucket with a rope and into that roiling sea and pulling up the water and washing your jeans, which would be stiff afterwards because it was salt. But it was wonderful. That part was an adventure. And then there was this amazing thing of finding the extra eggs and trying to figure out what that was all about. And that actually was a 5-year project.
yes.
And it took a long time. I've done a variety of things that had to do with how organisms behave, and both prior to that and after that. So it all fit into a sort of continuum of what my life ended up being.
Because you did change a course of an industry, basically. Did you really help define and open up the world of birds and what you study and behavior?
I think that it was the first documented instance of same-sex behavior in a reproductive way, or attempt at reproduction. Those birds really wanted to mate and have babies, and they did what they could. They just, it didn't work for them unless there was a male-female pair, because they didn't produce chicks, unless they mated outside the pair, which they did sometimes. But there's been a whole lot of studies since then with a variety of organisms, and the ending scene that showed gazelles and elephants and, baboons or whatever they were, engaging in where sexual behavior is used in other ways in nature. So because it was the first documented one, I think that's the important thing.
Yes. Well, it's a lovely film. Does the audience have a question? Does anyone have a question out there?
I can't see anything because I'm
Yes, you
blinded.
can.
But maybe if the audience were lit up, we could see who was interested.
Now I can see.
That's better. Why don't you get the question on the microphone?
As you were observing this on this island, and coming to the conclusion that this is not normal, something's weird here, you must have gone through 1,000 different scenarios trying to figure this out. And at what time and period during your investigation did it occur to you that you were dealing with gay birds?
Well, George never called them gay or lesbian. He always referred to them as female-female pairs. And as he said, and it was said in the film, it's possible that the birds didn't know one another apart in a sexual way, because the behaviors are so identical. But from a biological point of view, birds who lay multiple eggs are only able to do it successively. I mean, when you look inside and you do this little tiny operation where you can actually retract the muscles about here back and look inside, you see sort of a long ovary type thing with little teeny egg type colors that has the same colors that the shells have. And each one, after fertilization, has to develop over a couple of days before it can be laid. And this happens with chickens too. I mean, chickens lay eggs all the time that aren't fertilized. They are.
The question he wants to know is, what did you think?
When did you think? Right away, because it's impossible for one bird to lay eggs quickly. There had to be two of them, and we thought that all along. But the hard part was getting the proof, because you've got to first catch the birds.
Well, no one believed it. I mean, that was the thing. No one believed it at first. You went to, as it shows in the film, the OIFF magazine, which is an ornithological journal. You know, if they had taken the paper there, who knows if it would have kind of blown up the way it did. But you just spent 5 more years getting really, really solid proof, because they were like, this is just
it was unknown.
too crazy.
It was unknown.
You know, what George has told me too, and George is still with us and everything. He's just
We talked to him yesterday.
We talked to him yesterday. You know, at this time, and George has confirmed this with me, you know, it was kind of like with nature and mating and sexuality and gender, which are different things, by the way. People kind of were like, it's Noah's Ark, right? It's like male, female, end of story. And you know, what this study opened up for science was the idea that, you know, there might be other realities out there. And in this case, they discovered not only that they could pair based on their behavior, but also that they could be promiscuous outside of their pair bond, you know. So I kidded with George once. I was like, George, this is like the raciest scientific paper I've ever read. It has lesbianism, it has promiscuity. It's like, what else? But yeah, so that is kind of, you know, this was the sort of breakthrough discovery. And now there are, you know, I think we're into the thousands now of sort of papers where people have observed and documented same-sex behavior of various types.
Well, actually, by the time when it first came out, there were a lot of people that wrote to him and said, you know, we observe this in our farmyard animals.
Yep.
we observe this in other
Yeah,
things.
so that's why we say scientifically observed. But, and we, you know, for time, we took out this great little section where we had like people reading these letters and being like, oh, this is nothing new. Like, I see this with my parakeets, you know. And all of that is true, but, you know, it wasn't going to be scientifically published until someone could really prove it the way these guys did.
Well, what an amazing documentary, and we are honored to have it. And we hope to see you all at the award show tonight for example works like this. So thank you two for coming. It's an honor to have you here. And just stick around in a few minutes. We're starting the next block. So thank you so much.
Thank you.